So the question that you're asking about is with regards to simplify square root expressions. So I've put the question right here. The way that I would approach this is to remember that when you have one square root times another square root, you can actually combine what's inside. So for example, if I had the square root of 5 times the square root of 10, that's the same as the square root altogether of 5 times 10. And so from there I can break that down. So for this example, we have 5 times 10, but that's the same as square root of 5 times 2, right? The 10 is the same as 5 times 2. And then what you can do is you're looking for pairs since it's a square root. So since I have two 5's in there, this example would be the same as 5 times the square root of 2. That's how that works out. So if we go back to the problem that you had, what I would do is I would try to combine these together. So right now you have a 6 and a 2, so we can multiply those two together, and that gives me 6 times 2, which is 12. Then all under one big square root, I'm going to have everything else multiplied. I'm just going to write out what we're multiplying. So we have 15 times, and I'm going to combine the numbers first. It doesn't really matter the order, but it might make it easier. So we're going to have 15 times 20, and then we're going to have times y to the 4th times y squared. Now from here is when you can start to break things into their factors and look for pairs in order to take them out of the square root. So that 12 is going to stay right out here. 15, here maybe I'll wait to write that 12. 15 is the same as 5 times 3. 20 is the same as 5 times 4. So I like those pairs because right now I see that, well, I've got a 5 that I can take out since I've got a pair of those. So when I take out that 5, I now have out in front 12 times 5, and 12 times 5 is 60. So we have 60 times the square root. Now I still had this 3 and this 4 left in here. So I'm going to write that 3 times 4. And I also still had those y's in there. So y to the 4th times y squared. You don't have to do this in as many steps. I'm just trying to help and make this clear. The 4 is also a nice perfect square. If we broke that into its factors, we know that's 2 times 2. So I can bring a 2 out in front of this, which gives me 120. That's our 60 times 2. I still have a 3 inside of that square root. Now, let's think about what these y's are. So these y's right here, I'm going to move this over here. I've got a y to the 4th. So that's the same as y squared times y squared. And I've also got a y squared, which is the same as y times y. So again, we're looking for pairs, and those both have really nice pairs with them. So that means if I had the square root of just the y to the 4th times the y squared, I could pull out, since there's a pair of y squareds, I could pull out a y squared. Oops, let's switch colors there. I could pull out a y squared. And since there's a pair of y's here, I can pull out a y as well. So we get a y squared times y. There's nothing left in that square root, and that gives me a y cubed. So that's going to go out in front right here. So we end up getting 120 y cubed times the square root of 3. That should be your final answer. Let me know if you have any additional questions.